What is up, people? Today we have a 02 4runner. I know you can't really see it. Here's the front end, SR5 4-wheel drive. I wasn't sure if I was going to do this video, but decided to go ahead and show y'all. So, had to get my welder out. Had to weld a nut onto the fuel plug. It's not zooming in, don't know why. Focus on, there it goes. But I had to weld that onto the fuel plug. It was rounded off pretty bad. What we're doing is we're going to be doing the gasket on the carrier, like right around here, and you can see it is leaking really bad. I've already drained the fluid. It is a 24 millimeter that gets it out. Normally it's 24 to get the fill plug out. Well, you always try to get your fill plug out before you get your drain plug out. That way, if you can't get it out, don't pull it all off and be stuck with no fluid in your differential. That's a bad thing. But we are at this point now, and to do this, you're going to have to pull your drive shaft, you're going to have to pull your drums, your axles out, and stuff like that. Luckily, on these older ones, they have these right here, like a little R-clip. Pull that, and you can push this pin out, and you can disconnect your emergency brakes really easy, and then we can slide your axles out. But first thing I want to show y'all, you gotta take drive shaft out. You go right there. You have to hold the back. It's 14 millimeter. Hold the back. I think it's 14. Yeah. Hold the nut on the back. Then get another wrench on the front and break them loose. Normally, what I do, if I can get my wrenches open, is I typically like to break them loose if I can. Oh, these are tight. Yeah, break them loose, and then you can take it off a little bit easier. Oh my God. Whoever put them on did not want them coming off. So let me go ahead and get the rest of these off, and then we'll pop the drive shaft out. That way we'll be a little bit easier on getting everything out. Got the drive shaft out, and I just let it hang right there a little bit. And like I said, it's just 4 bolts and nuts. Pull them out, take a hammer, tap on it just really lightly, and it should fall right off. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to pull this bad boy right here out, and see, it moves pretty easy. Looks like I can get that pin out pretty easy. It's kind of like a little R-clip, except on the bottom you're going to have to get a pair of needle nose, unless you get really good fingers, and move it and pull it off. That's your clip right there, and that's kind of hard to see. And then sometimes you can push them out with your fingers, sometimes you can't. And that one I can't. Just use me a wrench and tap her up. See if I can get her out now. Yep. And that is your little pin. Walk that off of it. Now be careful, don't lose your little shim piece that's in there. If you happen to lose your R-clip, you can put a cotter pin in there. Don't recommend it. R-clips do hold a lot better, but you can put the cotter pin in there and push it around, and it'll hold it too. But those clips right there are a lot stronger than cotter pins are. So now, got those off. Next thing we need to do is actually I'm going to put the drain plug back in. That was our drain plug. Drain plug is right here on the bottom. I'm not going to tighten it all the way because I do have to clean it off. Got a little bit of metal on it, not much, just like a little bit of shavings. And I'm going to do the same thing with the fill plug, just put it back in just for right now. We do have a new fill plug coming. It will not be in until tomorrow. But I'm just going to put this one back on there real lightly, just enough so I can get this off of the lift and put another car on there whenever I finish this. And now, next thing we need to do is I'm going to go in the front, go ahead and loosen all the bolts for the carrier. I know it's really dark right there, but on the carrier you're going to have perimeter bolts all the way around it, and I think they're 12s or 14s. They're 12s. I had to think about it. Yep, they're 12 millimeters. So I'm just going to go around the perimeter, zip these off. Probably going to use an impact, just make things a lot quicker. I do like to loosen them up before I pull the axles out on these. It's just a personal preference of mine. You can do it in whichever order you want to. Just do whatever your heart desires. But I'm going to go through, take these off. I'm not going to bore y'all showing me take every one of them off. I think there was probably 15, 12, 15 of them. I don't forgot. But it's around the whole perimeter. And they can only go back in one way anyway, the carrier. But if you're not sure, just note that on these, flat spot goes on top. So you do have that. And then once I get that, I will leave one nut on the top just kind of loose on there just to hold it. I'll show it to you once I get it back off. Or once I bring y'all back. Not really get it back off, but bring y'all back. We got all of them out. And I got one nut kind of holding it back on. Now I did have one where the whole stud come out. If yours happens to do that, don't panic. That can happen. And all you do is just screw it back in. It ain't gonna make a big difference or anything, but there are washers on here. And I just used like a little magnet to just kind of pull them off. They're just steel washers or lock washers. So make sure you get those off. To be 10 bolts in total. Now, next thing we need to do, pull these drums off. Let me scooch them back. Okay, so you need to pull the drums off. You may need to use a hammer. Just depends on how rusty they are. Which these seem to be coming off fairly easy. I was surprised about that. Then, let me move y'all again. Right here, you're going to have a brake line. That is a 10 millimeter, goes to your brake cylinder. You have to take that off because you need to pull your axle out. And to do that, you can't pull it with the line still attached. Plus, I'm going to pull the wheel speed sensor out right here. Just 10 millimeter. Pretty quick and easy. I say quick and easy, but I know people in the north are going to be like, oh, we can't pull those out. Well, I know people have done them without pulling out. I like to take them out just for the sheer fact of not breaking it. If you can pull it out, pull it out. Just as a precaution, just something I always do. Like I said, I know I've seen people do it without pulling them out, not breaking them, but with this one might be stuck in there too. See if I can get it out without breaking it. Let's move it now. We're going to come out. She's going to be in there pretty tight. I'm going to try to leave it in This one isn't coming out as easy as I wanted it to, so I'm going to grab something to put around the line. I use these little Ziploc bags, like little resealable bags. I use those and put around there just so there's not brake fluid dripping everywhere, especially if you don't have two drain pans. It can get a little messy, so I want to put a little resealable bag around there, and it just kind of helps. Now I'm using this flare nut wrench, line wrench, whatever you want to call it, to take this off. This one's a little crusty, so I'm taking it slow, trying not to strip her out. Get that around there. Just working it back and forth to loosen it up. Okay, it's loose. Next step is we're going to have, make sure what size they are. They are 14. So I know y'all can't probably see them because they're a little dark. I'm going to try to get y'all a little closer. But see that nut right there? There's 4 of those, one on each corner. Take that off, and then you can slide your axle out now, because that is the final things that we need to do. I know I'm moving y'all around. I just want to get y'all a better view of everything. These can be a little tight, or a lot of tight. Yeah, these are pretty tight, I say so myself. So I'm just going to keep taking these out, and the stud may come out with it instead of just the nut, but if it does, not a problem. Again, like I said, you can just put it back in with the nut and everything already attached. But I'm just going to keep plugging away at this, and then before I pull it out, I'll bring y'all back, show y'all. And you might want to have a drain pan under here anyway, because you want to lose some fluid that's in your axle tubes. So be prepared for that. Got all the nuts off. None of my studs come out on this one. So now, probably going to pin y'all over a little bit. Normally they just pull right out. See how they do. Oh yeah. This one's coming out pretty easy. And there we go. If you've never smelt differential fluid before, you're about to learn just exactly how stinky it can be. So, to me, it's probably one of the worst smelling fluids on a car. I think transmission fluid's probably a little worse than this, in my opinion, but everybody has their preference. Also, if you want to change, if your axle seals are leaking, check them. Now is the best time to do this if you're doing that too. So, but mine, they feel fine. It wasn't leaking or anything around it. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave those alone. Check your O-ring around here, because there is an O-ring right there. See it moving? But check that, make sure it's not torn, make sure it's lubed up and everything real good. And all I'm going to do is just repeat the process on the other side, because you have to take both of them out, and then once we do that, we should be able to try to pull the carrier out of this and change the gasket on there. So let me do the other side, and like I said, exact repeat process of this. That's your axle. I always keep them on their respective side which they come out of, because one, can be longer than the other, but I know on Toyotas they're the same length. But you can have some where one side is longer than the other. So just keep that in mind. Make sure you keep them on the correct side of any differential that you try to do. I got the axe out on the other side, and now getting ready to pull the carrier out. I got my transmission jack underneath here to hold it. And I'm just hitting it back and forth to loosen it up. Oh yeah, she's coming out actually pretty easy. Normally they don't come out this easy. I hate to tell you all that, but most of the time they fight you coming out. Also, be careful pulling this out. Do not pull it out and smash your fingers. Bring it forward a little bit before I lower it down. And I'm on the back side of it, and I'm just going to come down a little bit at a time. That was a lot easier than I expected it to come out.